Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. How's Eddie Frederick?
So glad you can join us. Trinidadians warned of a probability of another pandemic. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Thursday, 10th August 2023. Details after this important message.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
Welcome back. The world should be prepared for another pandemic. Health Minister Terry Dialsingh says the probability is good that another one could develop in the next 10 years. TTT's Terry and Brown Campbell has that story.
Quoting from a recent BBC article, Minister of Health Terence Dialsingh called on the regional health sector to prepare for the possibility of another pandemic.
Another deadly virus has a better than 1 in 4 chance of becoming a global pandemic within a decade. That should scare you. The unknown virus, with a potential to cause serious global damage, is referred to by the World Health Organization as Disease X.
Minister Dialsingh described the originating region and the possible symptoms of Disease X.
It is likely to be zoonotic, says WHO. It is likely to emerge, and this is the scary part, it is likely to emerge from a tropical, low or middle income country with high biodiversity, which is experiencing man-made land change uses.
Urging countries to build what he called muscle memory, the Minister of Health said the mistakes of the COVID-19 pandemic needs to be avoided.
WHO, thankfully, is working with South Africa to develop those factors of production so the African continent would not suffer vaccine apartheid. They are also working with South America, I believe Argentina, to develop a similar capacity for the PAHO region.
Minister Dialsingh made his comments as he addressed the opening ceremony at the Regional Health Security Pathway Planning meeting, which is being held over the next 2 days. Terry and Brown Campbell, TTT News.
In the meantime, once again, the opposition leader in Trinidad and Tobago is taken to task for her comments regarding firearms and criminals. This time from former Senate President Timothy Hamill-Smith. TV6's Nicole M. Ramadi has more.
And I don't think she did any service to herself or to the country in that those inflammatory tones where you took empty the clip and light them up and that sort of thing. Just plays to the song that Dr. Rowley as a fiddler of your word. And she dances to that sound by now bringing this out. And it does the country no good.
Mr. Hamill-Smith says, it seems the country is heading down a rabbit hole it may never emerge from.
In fact, what these leaders are doing are really, I don't know if they're aware of it, but they're sowing seeds for, if 10 years from now, genocide, God forbid, were to break out in Trinidad, you would trace it back to today or today's environment in which the seeds were being sown by the political leaders for, one ethnic group to see themselves in certain terms and the other as the enemy.
He also shares his perspective on the political arrangements between the United National Congress, the National Transformation Alliance, and the ILP.
As a solo player, she cannot succeed. That's the signal it sends. I'm not sure, and therefore she's chosen personalities, I think, rather than parties, to try and, raise the image of the party to another level. Time will tell whether that will succeed or not. I have my doubts that that will succeed.
Mr. Hammersmith is the political leader of the newly formed party Hope, which is not contesting the local government election.
We will wait till the dust settles at local election, but I think in September you will find a new party emerging. Hope, for the first time, we intend to bring hope for the country of Trinidad. And I think that, the kind of lighting up that we would want to do is to light up the hearts and minds of people, and not the type of lighting up that the UNC-like leader has in mind.
Nicole M. Romani, TV6 News.
Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Kenya's Ruto commit to collaboration on Haiti with 200 officers in the first instance. More in this CVM Live report.
According to a statement issued from the Office of the Prime Minister Andrew Holness yesterday in a telephone conversation with President of the Republic of Kenya, William Ruto, reaffirmed Jamaica's commitment to support multinational security and humanitarian missions to Haiti. In discussing Jamaica's willingness to participate in such a force, Prime Minister Holness advised that Jamaica would commit to providing an initial 200 security personnel, together with the Bahamian commitment to provide 150 personnel, which would bring the CARICOM commitment at this time to 350. Prime Minister Holness expressed hope that more countries would also step forward with personal commitments and that the requisite UN Security Council resolution will be adopted in order to provide the appropriate jurisdictional framework for the security force. According to U.S. State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller, the United States, along with Ecuador, intend to introduce a resolution at the UN Security Council to take that step. CVM Live will continue to track these developments.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
The political landscape has witnessed the reversal of fortunes as the Member of Parliament for East St. Thomas now finds herself subject to public condemnation. Natalia Clark of CVM Live has more.
The tables have turned in the political arena, with the Member of Parliament for Eastern St. Thomas facing public condemnation. This follows a video on social media where she was seen supposedly in jest hiding an orange rag beneath a woman's dress. Her behavior has been criticized by Jamaicans, and now the People's National Party's women's movement has added their take, demanding that she be removed from the electoral ballots. Natalia Clark reports.
Sometimes this happy I know. Yeah, worry about that. No, this happy I know. Not true. How will it right?
Eastern St. Thomas Member of Parliament Dr. Michelle Charles is now caught in a web of harsh criticism following a recent post on social media. In the video, Charles is observed stuffing an orange article, a color associated with the opposition People's National Party, beneath a woman's dress. The PNP's women's movement has since characterized Charles' action as an act of abuse and humiliation. In an open letter to the Jamaica Labour Party leadership, President of the movement Patricia Duncan de Sutherland describes the incident as disgusting and asserts it goes against the principles of respect, dignity, and equality. She further concludes, Charles' action is contrary to the principles and foundations being observed amid Jamaica's Emancipendence celebrations. Soon after the video was posted to Dr. Charles' social media and the criticisms began to mount, an apology was registered. The tweet read, I made a post recently which was inappropriate and resulted in some discomfort and concern. I would like to extend an unequivocal apology to the woman in the video who is my friend and constituent, and to anyone else who was offended. Duncan de Sutherland is however adamant this is simply not enough. As such, she implores Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Horace Chang, and Gender Affairs Minister Olivia Babs-de-Grange to publicly condemn Dr. Charles' actions and to disqualify her from contending for her seat in the next general election. Coupled with this, the Women's Movement president is demanding the same in relation to MP George Wright and Councillor David Brown, who have been accused of physically abusing women. Natalia Clark, CVN Live.
The Member of Parliament for North Aberco, Kirk Cornish, has confirmed that he's been charged for sexual assault. Allegations, he says, are totally false. ZNS News filed this report.
Months of speculation has ended. After mounting questions, police today released a 3-liner statement confirming that a 48-year-old Abaco man will be formally charged in connection with sexual assault and threats of death. ZNS News has since confirmed that the accused is North Abaco MP and Parliamentary Secretary Kirk Cornish. No further details were given, save that the arraignment is scheduled for tomorrow at 10 a.m. at a magistrate's court here in the capital.
In the meantime, maritime revenue losses under the microscope in the Bahamas.
Well, a government task force created to enhance and recover lost maritime revenue, the Maritime Revenue Enhancement Task Force, bringing together teams from 6 governmental agencies, Customs, the Ministry of Finance, Port Department and Maritime Resources, as well as Immigration and the Department of Maritime Resources. The unit will also clog maritime revenue loopholes and aggressively go after those who attempt to break the laws. Financial Services Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Simon Wilson, estimates that within 2 years, the country can earn as much as $100 million in direct revenue from the maritime sector.
We have sea structures, piers, wharfs, and so forth. The government charges a rent for that. That's in many cases not being billed properly, not being collected. In seabed leases, this is the seabed where you moor your vessels and so forth. Many cases not being billed properly, not being collected. Also in terms of cruising permits, persons coming to the country on their boat from Florida, they should be paying a cruising permit based on how much entries they do and so forth. Many cases we're not capturing all of that. And that's why the defense force is so important because, you know, as vessels come into the Bahamas, there is a tax attached to that. That tax has to be collected.
Hubbard's is once again innovating the way you shop with its new online store, providing 24-hour shopping convenience. You can shop now for appliances, hardware, houseware, building material, and more. Free delivery island-wide. Start shopping now at hubbardshardware.gd. Safe, convenient, reliable.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.